Hello,
Hello.
how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good.
That's good.
TGIF.
How's Louie and Shirley?
I think muted.
I guess so.
So let's see. Here we go. I didn't want to do that.
Hello, Bansley.
Hello.
Howdy, howdy.
Well, Shirley's down today.
Oh, Shirley. Hi, Shirley.
Yeah.
Yes, but they're muted. They can't hear us.
Well,
There's
they-
the sound right there.
Oh,
They should be able to hear us, but they just can't talk. I don't.
Yeah,
Can you hear us, Louie?
Doesn't look like it.
See, now this channel is down there too. So put it up here.
I'll chat. Let's see if it.
See where it is here?
Hey, here's chatting. You don't have yourself on mute.
Oh,
Well, I don't know. Let's see. Well, let's see. I don't know how many people show up, right? The sort of my numbers are dwindling quite a bit, but I guess we're still having about 30 people watch it during the week on YouTube. So, but maybe just we're not interesting anymore.
How can you say such a thing?
Or we're getting used to each other and have nothing to say. Oh, well. Did everybody survive the hot water shut off on Wednesday?
Mhm.
yeah.
I didn't even notice it to me. I just said, oh yeah, that happened, didn't it? One of the nice things that I'm enjoying now is got butterflies in the garden. I go out there in the morning and pedal my bike, and it's usually around 8:30, 9 o'clock, nice sunny days, and you see all these butterflies pumped up and down
Oh.
in the flowers and everything else. It's such a inspiring thing to watch. And
The
I
garden
don't
is
know if
pretty.
other people are aware of it or not. Of course, there's several people participating and raising them and letting them getting them out there. I know Ellen Boston is doing some, and I guess we're talking to Betty yesterday. She had one or two to release this week too. So I don't know how many people are participating, but they're having results. And it's really nice to see. So I guess it's another thing to go out and try to catch them with a photograph and take a picture of them. But I guess Judy has done some of that, and I think her friend Cheryl or Shannon, the other caregiver that works on that, Cheryl, Shannon, I can't remember her name now, but she's out there all the time, either putting food on the plants or checking on them or something like that. So it's nice to see they're all taken care of. Let's see. I don't know if any of the staff are going to be here because of the holiday weekend, but I think I've got everything because the memo did come out for the week, and it covered a lot of the things that we're talking about. The biggest news, of course, we have 8 staff that are now positive and 1 resident, and I guess that triggered the alarms or the went over the thresholds where we have to go testing again. And so we're going to go on a 2 times a week testing with the rapid tests for the next, until we get 14 days of no new cases.
When does that start?
It starts this coming Tuesday after the 4th. It'll be the 5th of July.
Oh,
So we'll be testing Tuesday and on Friday and do the rapid tests, but we don't do the temperature tests anymore. That got shut down.
oh, good.
That's good.
That's it. After I buy I didn't buy a thermometer. Someone gave me a thermometer, but after that happened, then now we don't need the thermometers. We just need to be go down there and get our noses swabbed.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But
Week.
that's that was in the memo that came out today, and it's going to continue until we have 14 days of no new cases. And I assume that is residents and staff, but I don't know if it's the staff counts. I would assume it's residents and staff, but I'm not for sure. They didn't clarify the detail. And so that begins next week. The vote on it was also mentioned in the memo. The vote on the fountain was to refurbish or restore the current one.
Good.
That style, I agree. It adds a lot of classic style to the courtyard. It's one of the first things you see when you come in the gate. It's look down there, and there's that big, wonderful statue. I mean, that adds to the style of the whole courtyard. So if you just get it so it's not so corroded and figure out how to keep it from getting corroded, they'll do it well. And I guess somebody said they need to figure out a way of filtering the water so they reduce the pH value. So that's what causes a lot of the corrosion. And I don't know all of the details of that, but I guess maybe there's little new technology that you add to the old fountain. Judy was collecting sports shoes and for the end of the month. So yesterday was the end of the month. I hope you guys got all the donations into Judy so she can pass them on. And I don't know what the result was, but I hope she had something to show for all her efforts. Now here's a controversial. It's a little. I don't know how controversial it was, but it's something that I wasn't prepared for, and so I try to look into it here. This is in the Continental Breakfast, and you can see it now. It's a sign that says, the breakfast is designed for dining in the Red Chair Lounge. Do not remove food from the lounge in containers, plates, or pockets. And so I said, I sent a note to Kim. I says, what's this all about? I says, it seems like a policy change, because before the continental breakfast was a nice thing to have, but you didn't have to stay there. You could, take the food with you. And she clarified what they're trying to do here. And the issue is that they had, I guess, people hoarding food. And so she said, you should only bring, you can take food outside, but only take what you will eat that day. So they don't want you to stock up on everything else and be feeding the community or something like that. And it's not exactly clear in the sign that way, but it's not saying that you can't take it home with you, but you shouldn't be stockpiling it. And at least that's how I understand the way it works. Is that?
And the sign seems to allow that you can take whatever you can hold in your hands,
Yeah.
which limits it to probably what.
Which
you
is like a
can eat.
banana or something like that, and maybe a pastry. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's reasonable. Yeah.
Okay. Is that the way the policy works, Debbie?
Yeah, we were just noticing there are some people who will bring in large food containers and pile up a lot of fruit. We've seen people put things in their walker, in their pockets, and then by the time somebody else comes a little bit later, we're out of pastries. So, we're happy to provide the continental breakfast complimentary, but we just want people to just eat what you are eating in one sitting, instead of for the whole day.
Okay. So it's not going to interrupt your daily or morning routines if you take something back with you. You just don't hoard it. Yeah. Okay. It's comes tomorrow. We have the chorale concert in the afternoon at 3:00 in the PAC, and that should be a lot of fun. And the other things come the holiday on Monday, July 4th. The meals will probably be the same times for the meals and the breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The Grove will feature a sort of a barbecue style dinner, and Judy's going to provide pizza in the courtyard. But if you want to have your share, you have to go sign up in the activity book so she knows a head count to plan for on how much pizza she needs to buy. So that's not a big thing to deal. So before it gets too late this weekend, sign up in the activity book if you're going to have some pizza. Then Sean is going to be playing in the courtyard around 7:30, a little celebration, and then by 9:30 the Disney fireworks should be kicking off. And if as usual, the street north of the village will have their fireworks off anytime after dusk, and it'll go on and on and on until probably 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So we won't be able to see them, but you'll hear them. So let's see. I put together a list of the other celebrations going on in the Orange County. If someone else is going to be going to one of the other cities, this is the fireworks at the Dunes down in Newport Beach, and they're having their event as usual. It's one of the big things. In the Orange County Fairgrounds, they're going to have a celebration, fireworks at 9:30. Santa Ana is going to have at the Centennial Region Park fireworks, live music and fireworks at 9 o'clock. Tustin, they're going to have a food drive, music and fireworks, 6:30 and 9:30. Fireworks in the Tustin High School. Westminster in the City Park, 9:15. And the coast, they're going to have the squadron from the World War II, the AT-6 coastal flyovers. And these are the old planes, and they'll be flying over Huntington Beach, Newport, Laguna, Dana Point, and San Clemente. Dana Point's going to have some kind of different friends, fireworks at Doheny, at Safe Beach, the trolley hop, harbor cruises, and the fireworks at 9 to 9:30. And of course, the big parades and so forth. At Huntington Beach, going to have a parade and plaza and fireworks. Whatever. Festival, carnival, Independence Day parade, fireworks over the ocean at 9. Laguna, they're going to have nine fireworks, so forth. Newport Beach, Marinas Park at Irvine, the parade at Newport Beach, and fireworks at Newport Dunes at 9 o'clock. So I think what I'll do is I'll publish this on the Village News if you want to go and see what's all going on. Anaheim Hills, they have a big parade and fireworks up there in the Orange Park Acres area and Peralta Park. And they have a lot of contests between the different folks as to who can get the biggest illegal fireworks and set them off. We got the Knott's Berry Farm, Cypress, La Habra, Los Alamitos, Orange, Phillip Park at the high school, Yorba Linda, Aliso Viejo, Irvine, Laguna, so forth. So there's quite a bit going on here to see all those fireworks going. So they were saying something on the radio the other day that some of the fireworks companies are short on staff, and they've been cited for safety violations, and they may not be able to put on their shows. Maybe it's sort of a sad thing to see happen, but anyhow, okay. So Louis had to hop off, so I was trying to get him to, no, he's there. Okay, anyhow. In the
You were connected?
trying to keep you guys up to date on what's going on here, I posted a new article. Last week I posted an article on using password managers, because if you are a big user of the internet and different sites, you probably have more than a half a dozen passwords. And after a while, you start losing them, or you put them on these little stickies or notepads or wherever, and you start to lose track of them. And if you put them on your computer, you're asking for trouble, because if someone gets into your computer, then they got all your passwords, especially to your financial accounts and other personal business. And you don't want to do that because you can lose your identity. Well, if you end up with a big set of passwords, I have a bunch of passwords. The question was, what happens when you die? And so this was an article, and I said, well, I guess this must be a way you can pass on your passwords. And there's an article I posted on that. And yeah, they have different ways of designated how you can pass your passwords on to other people using these different apps. Or you could just write them on a list and put them in the refrigerator, freezer, or something like that, or some steel box or whatever. So you don't have to be too sophisticated on the thing, but it's something you have to think about. Oh my gosh, I got another thing to think about, and all the things I got to manage, so forth. So if you want to go to the Village News, then you have to go to the reference section. This is the reference section up here, and there's an article here about how to pass on your passwords. And it just walks you through about different contacts you want to designate and everything else. And then you can use password managers because they have 4 ways of doing that. So that you can get up to date on that. And then this is the other article about why you really need a password manager, because you have too many of them to manage yourself. So that's some food for thought. When you think you got everything else organized, there's something else to worry about. So while we're here today, we want to think about what it would be like to take a nostalgic trip backwards to see how things have changed. And so based on a wonderful video that I got from Bill Orth, I'm going to show you this, and it's kind of fun to watch. So I hope you enjoy this. Here today and gone tomorrow. Remember when you could repair TVs with plug-in tubes and all the old antennas? Milk deliveries. And doctors came to your house. And script writing. That was the library cards. Yeah, this is before Google. I had the encyclopedias. And
Radio Shack. Is it the ice cream?
Mhm. So that was the times where it used to be. A lot of things that is permanent changes in society and technology affected our lives in huge and small ways. While places, society, norms, and things became obsolete, many memories remain. So along those same lines, there was, see if I can, sure that's taken care of. Okay. There's a description of the people who lived during that period of time called the 1% age group. So and I think most of us fit into that realm. So let me quickly go through that for you. So oops, that's the wrong thing to watch. I got to make sure I got the right thing up here. That's the wrong one. No. Stop that one. I go. I got too many things going here. Where is it? Okay, it is. Okay. Okay, I think it should be okay now. Here we go. Oh, come on. What is going on here? Okay, 1% age group is the people who were born between 1930 and 1946. In that 16 years, at this age, there is the smallest group of children born since the 1900s. And so if we're a part of that group, you're the last generation climbing out of the Depression who can remember the winds of war and the impact of the war that rattled the structure of our daily lives. We last remember ration books for everything from gas to sugar, shoes, and stoves. We saved tinfoil and poured fried wheat fat into tin cans. Remember the milk being delivered to your house in the morning and placed in a milk box on your porch. You're the last generation who spent childhood without television. Instead, you imagine what you heard on the radio. With no TV until the 50s, you spent your childhood playing outside. There was no Little League. There was no city playground for kids. The lack of television in the early years meant you had little real understanding of what the world was like. Telephones were one to a house, shared party lines. It hung on the wall in the kitchen because there was no privacy. Computers were calculators, and many of them hand cranked. Typewriters were driven by pounding fingers, throwing the carriage, and changing the ribbon. And internet and Google were words that didn't exist. Newspapers and magazines were written for adults, and the news would broadcast on your radio in the evening. Highways would bring jobs and mobility. The radio network expanded from 3 stations to thousands. The parents were suddenly free from the confines of depression and war and threw themselves into working hard, making a living for their family. You weren't neglected, but you weren't an all-consuming family focus. They were glad you played by yourselves. You were busy discovering the post-war world. You entered a world of overflowing plenty and opportunity, a world where you were welcomed, enjoyed ourselves, and felt secure in your future, although depression and poverty was still remembered. Polio was still a crippler. Came of age in the 50s and 60s. You're the last generation experience an interlude where there are no threads to our homeland. The Second World War was over, and the Cold War, terrorism, global warming, perpetual economic insecurity had yet to haunt a life with unease. Only your generation can remember both a time of great war and a time of world was secure, full of bright promise and plenty. You grew up in the best possible time, a time when the world was getting better. You are the last ones. And more, 99% of you retired, and you feel privileged to have lived in the best of times. Amen. It's great to be part of the 1% special group. I don't know if you feel that way, but I do.
There's still too many nuclear weapons in the world.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. I mean, today there seems all kinds of crazy things going on. That's the very difficult part to get over. But with so many different things happening and different kinds of conflicts and people don't care and they're at each other's throats all the time, and you got all this gun violence and
Hello,
yeah.
what's that?
Who's that?
Hi, Mary Ann. How are you?
Oh, Mary Ann's on the phone.
Oh,
Okay, I'll mute her. Okay. So we had it good,
We did.
and it's I'm not sure the kids today are realizing what they missed. A lot of them just don't. They don't really give as much about what's going on in the public of the world and everything else. They live in their own little social media lives. So, but I'm not going to criticize them. That's another day for another dollar. So anyhow, I thank Bill for passing those two things on. They sort of go together. All the things that we did as in that group of people, and a lot of the nostalgic things we did it with. So, okay. Has anybody else got any things you want to talk about? What's going on?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Has anybody had any trouble with their air conditioning? This morning, maintenance came in and said, your air conditioning isn't working. And I said, oh, I didn't know that. And so he went into the furnace area and he threw a master switch or something, because there was something down in the control area that they knew had thrown out some of our air conditioning, and they had to come locally and reset it. But after that, there was no problem.
I had the same thing happen to me, and I didn't know. He says it was just blowing cold air. He says, well, I didn't notice it that much, but he said they had a power switch or something, and they had to come back and reset these things. So he was there for about a minute, flipped the switch, and went out.
yeah.
So mine was blowing hot air up to 80, and I finally turned it off, and I called the desk and she said the whole system was off. And so I don't know if anyone came while I was gone. I've been out all
I know.
afternoon.
They came about an hour ago and said I gotta reset your air conditioner.
Yeah, I think they must have gone through the whole place to doing that.
He said, asked me if I reset it. I said, I.
Well, I'm gonna check mine.
Yeah, well,
I reset, came all the way.
turn it back on and we get cool.
And I looked at it. He said, oh, no, you're fine.
Yeah, the other thing I've had is several times this week I've had the DirecTV outage. One time,
You did too.
all the channels were not available. Then other times I turn it on and just channel 10 or something was off or something like that, channel 9, whatever it was.
That's what I usually get.
So I don't know. Yeah. Don?
I'm not sure anybody else has this problem, but Colleen and I noticed that our dishwasher was turning out some pretty scuzzy looking glasses and dishware. And after examining it, Ralph, you said, well, you guys are using the wrong kind of a cleaner. Well, we've been using,
Powder,
what is it?
Cascade powder.
Cascade?
Cascade powder since we moved in without the repercussion. However, he said that's the wrong stuff to use.
Liquid.
Oh,
So we have now switched to Cascade liquid. It's kind of like a sloppy goo, and it has cleaned up the mess. Since we don't have any instructions how these things work, that was a surprise to us. But if anybody's having that problem, you might want to think about switching to a semi-liquid rather than the power.
Powder.
I use these little tablets. It's like a gel tablet, you know.
Yeah, well, that's our next alternative. We're going to give that a
Me
shot.
too.
That'd be all
It's
right.
real easy. You don't have to measure anything. You just flip them in there. And I haven't had a problem with. But it-
One
yeah.
other thing I'd like to comment on is I'm not sure what they did with the water over the closing period, but our shower and our kitchen sink still take quite a long time to get the hot water.
It's not, a-
Well, they'll probably have a follow-up after they get these pumps set in, because they were supposed to go around and see what the improvements were. And I'm not sure of the details, because there was also a lot of individual problems they had to solve too. That it was in one of his reports. So
Well,
there's,
the good part is they're looking into it.
they're working it. Yes, that's right. That's true. Yeah. So, well, I hope they. Okay, Bill.
Yeah, Bob, I just got a message from Judy. On 4th of July night, approximately 9 are invited to come to my apartment, 318, and Joyce Kessler's apartment, 319, to watch fireworks. Judy's going to have chairs brought up to the apartment area, and she's going to serve ice cream, desserts, or something after the fireworks. The village will, I don't know who all's going to be invited, but she's going to put a flyer out tomorrow, I think.
You're going to sell tickets?
We'll have anywhere from 5 to 100 people up here.
All righty. Very good. Well, that didn't quite make the memo, but that's good news. So, especially for the folks who haven't really a chance to see the fireworks and maybe new
Right,
in
I
the area.
think the memo is going to come out tomorrow. I think she's putting a memo out tomorrow.
Oh, okay. All righty.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm going to go back to another topic I just started last week or so, talking about the stock market and everything else, and some of the economic issues. As you know, the market hasn't been doing very well recently. And today they reported that now we're 6 months into the year. This has been the worst 6 months for the markets since 1970. That's 50 years, over 50 years. So they're saying don't take a lot of stuff for granted, because it's really a big thing. A big change from how nice the markets were working for so many years to now the kind of things we have to deal with. So let's see where I got. I think this is it. Okay. So we have, this is the Dow Jones, which is the index for the 30 industrial stocks, which is sort of the main market. And it goes back from starting way back 5 years ago in the end of June 2017. And you see it went, this is when it was a pretty good period, but we went up and we sort of went sideways for a while up until January 20, February, when the COVID thing hit, and we went down. We were up at the 40% increase over the beginning, and went down and lost all of that 40%, and actually went down below that. So it's a 52% drop from this point here. But fortunately, we had all kinds of stimulus going on with the Fed doing the quantitative easing, and all the stimulus they had for the COVID relief and the other stuff, throwing money in the economy, and that just shot things up. So from 2020 up to the beginning of this year, it went up 72 plus 12 up from this bottom. It went up to 84% increase, and that was great until a few other things started to turn around. When we had all the kind of stoppages, we had a buildup of inflation because of this growth, and a lot of other things started turning around and going sour. And here's where the Fed started saying, well, we better start tightening up the credit, and we started going down. So we lost 30 some points just in this 6 months. And this is looking at it in this last 6 months. We were here and we just sort of bounced back in here from January up until today. And it's not getting any better. In fact, what's happening is we're in a down channel. And that's, it's sort of got the gurus in a quandary. So what's going to happen next? Well, we're going to keep on going down until we fix all these things. And there's all kinds of debate whether or not the administration and the Fed and is going to do this stuff, or inflation is going to take a real hit to the economy and slow things down. And we'll have to go through a real grinding, long and slow recession. So we have the same thing on the S&P, very similar pattern, slightly different numbers. It went up to higher. Instead of 80 points, it went up to 114 points. And we lost almost half of that in 5 years, just in this first 6 months. So we were up here, and this number here went down. And that's where we are today. Same kind of channel. Actually, this channel is showing it's sort of diversing. It's getting wider and wider. So it's not likely to stop until the Fed's actions are completed. Next is the NASDAQ. This is even a higher peak, 173% since the 5 years, and almost twice what the Dow is. And it lost half of that in this first 6 months. And then we can see it coming down again here, the same kind of patterns. When you look at the comparisons over 5 years, you can see this is the NASDAQ, a higher peak, the S&P, and the Dow. And what this is telling you is that the markets mostly go together. And so when you own a stock or an ETF, you're going to go pretty much along with the ride, unless you get into and do some hedging and advanced things in the market. And that takes a lot of work, and sitting behind a computer all day, day trading and kinds of stuff that I don't have the time for, or the stomach anymore. So here's the relative performance in the last 6 months. You can see the Dow is the least dropped. the S&P 20% down, and the NASDAQ over close to 30%. And that's a little better than it was in the middle of June. It's come back a little bit, but not much. So you start, well, where am I going to find something that I can live with? So I said, well, I'm going to take a look at the differences from January for the first 6 months, and then compare it with just the last month. And here's looking at the indexes. So the last year to date numbers, the best stuff that we had in terms of indices, crude oil went up 40-some%, but the markets went down in this last 26%. And then the other markets were in between here. But in the last month, S&P has actually gone up, and crude oil is at the bottom of the chart. It's gone down. Says, well, we got to be careful. What if you're going to jump into these things, and you're going to make money or lose money? So I said, let's look at the different sectors. So energy was at the top of the chart here, and then it went the last month. Energy's at the bottom of the chart. So you got to be careful which one you want to jump into and how long of a period you're going to go for that. Some of the things in the middle, like industrials, really didn't change a lot. Consumer defensive, it moved up a little here and all that. But some of these things really swing quite a bit. So you have to be careful when you're looking for where you want to go to put your money in when things start getting volatile. Now, here's at the different commodity levels: energy, big returns at the first part of the year, and then metals having a hard time. And over here, just the last month, heating oil just popped up again. It was at the top before. But now you see gas is down in the bottom where it was up here at the top. And that's all because of the world energy crisis, and they haven't figured out where they're going to get the natural gas. And every once in a while they get an idea and then it doesn't work out. But some of these other things, the prices are bouncing around quite a bit. So we're going to figure out how to get a place to, if I'm going to sell what I had to preserve my earnings and my gains, where am I going to go next? It's not the easiest thing to deal with. So I said, well, one of the things they were talking about is this new, it's not a new, but it's a thing called an I bond. It's an inflation protection bond. It's a government treasury. And I said, well, I can take some of my cash and put it into I bonds. Well, I said, I got to figure that one out, because they had an article in the Wall Street Journal today, and it's sort of hilarious. It says, if inflation hasn't made you crazy, try buying an I bond. And they went through about the rigmarole of trying to buy one of these bonds. And I says, it can't be that complex. But I went and told about stores for 3 or 4 different people. I went through all kinds of different hurdles. And I says, oh, this is a challenge. So I got to go to figure out how I'm going to see if I can buy one of these things. Because the I bonds, you can buy them at up to $10,000 increments every year, and then earning 9.5% or something like that, tax free. So it's a nice thing they'll put your money in. So let's see. I said, well, I'm going to figure this one out. So I went and I started following the directions of the hints that they gave us on the and the easiest way to do it is buy them electronically using a website called Treasury Direct. And so I put together a simple set of slides. Basically, they're just screenshots. And this is treasurydirect.gov. /INDV individual and INDV.htm. And if you go to that site, in fact, I can just click on it here and you'll see this is the site that comes up. And
It's out of focus.
is it? I don't know why. Oh, it may not be. I know what happened. Yeah, this is not part of my, I gotta do my share again because I didn't include that. Let me go to my desktop and share it this way. So now I can share what's on my desktop. So now this is
Oh, yeah. Oops.
this is the website, okay, and let's see. This would be the little thing I put together, and you click on here. This is iSavings Bond, and it brings up this screen, and it tells you about how you can buy them, and you can buy them direct, or you can buy them with paper with your IRS tax refund. And that sort of intrigued me because if you buy them direct, you can buy up to $10,000. And if you buy them with the IRS, you can buy the tax refund, you can buy up to $5,000. And you can do both of them. So if you're really trying to accumulate bonds, you can do up to $15,000 a year. So I said, oh, that's interesting. So let's see, I'm going to go back to the website. So here's, and it gives you all these other things you can look at. And you want to go into opening an account, and then, or you just take a guided tour of this whole thing, and it walks you through this kind of thing. And so I did a little of that because I wasn't sure how all the pitfalls that the journal was talking about. And they have these different videos, how to log in your account, how to find this and that kind of stuff. So you can go through all those videos. And here's something about what an I-bond is. It's a savings bond that earns interest based upon a fixed rate and an inflation rate. And it's better than a double E bond or the TIPS. It's better than those. And you can get $10,000 each year and then electronically, and or $5,000 in paper each calendar year. And any amount from $25 up to $10,000 and so forth. And they earn interest for 30 years unless you cash them. You can cash them after 1 year. But if you cash them before 5 years, you lose the previous 3 months of interest. So it's like 4 3/4 years and so forth. So, but it's pretty good. And it's just the calculated interest rates. It gets into all the details here, but right now in 2022, it's 9.62% per year, and that's going to be compounded. And then for the next 5 or 10 years, it stays at that rate. Previously, it was in the 7 or 8% arena. So you have to start filling out these forms like this, which is pretty much, your social security number, date of birth, driver's license, the addresses, your phone, the emails, your bank routing information, and stuff like that. And it wasn't hard to do that. But then they gets a little more complex because they send you once you get your account input, then they send you what they call a one-time password, and you got to use it. That's where the tricky part becomes. You got to use that one-time password to log in, but the login process is the hairiest thing I've done for many years on a computer. They give you a picture of a keyboard. You can't use your keyboard. You use a picture of their keyboard, and you have to spell out your password by using your mouse to hit the right numbers and get that password that you told them in on that screen that way. And it takes more than one time to try to get through that thing. And that's where these other people said, this is crazy, this is a crazy thing. And I agree with them. But I did it, I says, oh, okay, let's do it. So it all happened, and I'm now a proud owner of one I bond. So I'll put some of this information up on the Village News so you guys can follow it. But you can pretty much go through the treasurydirect.gov and if you follow the things, and there's a few pitfalls in it, but it's not too bad. So let's see. Is anybody gonna, any comments? Judy? Judy? You're frozen.
Yes. I understand you said it locks in your rate. So when it resets, it doesn't affect your rate?
No, it pays a fixed 9.62% interest rate.
Right, but it's going to reset October 22nd, 2022. So when it resets,
it uses the same rate. It is, they have an opportunity to change the rate, but the rate they forecast for the next 10 years is in the 9%, 9.6 something percent rates. So I looked at the site and it's
okay. That's a forecast.
She's suspicious.
Me too.
He already did it. He should have not told us. Are you on mute?
let me look at that.
You are.
No,
Put it on mute.
I want to answer my question. That's back right there.
You're frozen.
Okay, I'm looking at the table right now. And
There we go.
okay, let me share this with you. It's saying when you bought the bond in May through October, it's 9.62%. And these are the prior years. If you bought it earlier. The composite rate for your 6-month earning period starting in May through October. When does my bond rate change? And it doesn't show a forecast. I thought I must have misread that.
Yes.
But I guess it has a seasonal inflation rate where you can calculate this whole thing together. I thought I had a table, but that was looking backwards. It wasn't looking forward. So I misunderstood. I misstated that. So, but it's a good place to make money, and there's absolutely no risk to it for sure. So,
no, anyway, no.
Bob?
Don?
Yeah, I want to, do you deal with a broker, Bob, in your transactions?
Not on this. This is direct. But
Well, I wonder, this looks to me like it's an email from Nigeria. And I'm very, very heavy into fixed income investments. And this, of course, would pique my curiosity to the top of the world. Holy cow.
Well,
Does the Treasury Department sell these bonds?
yeah, directly, yes.
And does the return on your investment come back monthly?
I don't know that it's posted because they hold the bonds in an account for you. They are holding the bonds in account for you unless you buy a paper one. And then I guess it's not posted at all until you cash it.
And when you sell the
You know,
bond,
sometimes when you hear these things that it seems too good to be true, that may be very true. That may not be.
Well, I mean, you can talk to your financial advisor, and they will confirm that these are legitimate.
And how should I,
They probably won't sell them because they don't make any money on them, but
and how should I address the issue to my advisor? What should I call it?
An I.
it's an I bond.
I bond.
I bond?
Letter I.
It's an I bond, capital I bond.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you can accumulate them, you know, and was up to 30 years or something like that. So it's a good, safe place to put the money right for now, and without any speculation. It just they said in an article, the news that there was 180 million people trying to, or 120 million people trying to get into this system, and they'd like to improve the system, but they can't touch it now because it's so damn busy processing all these new orders because people want to find a place to put their money. So they're sort of stuck with what they have. It'll settle down, but I guess the word is out. All my investing buddies were talking about this is a good place to put their money. One other person was talking about Cal Munis. Is a new issue that's out there doing pretty well. But some of the Cal Munis have had pretty bad results recently too. So I'm not sure that I want to do that without a lot more due diligence. So, all righty. Judy, if you don't mind, I would like to show an old clip from a happy hour a couple of years ago when you were telling a story about what you did on July 4th and how you celebrated it with your family. Is that okay? You remember that? Oh, she's frozen again.
I don't. No.
You don't?
Go
Oh. Okay. Well, let me see if I can find that. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, this is it. I was thinking of, we went, this is, I think it's 2019 or 2020. We were talking about what the different families did during 4th of July. And so this is an excerpt from that. Let's see if I can get it in the right spot.
Oh. It's probably about the banana
It came off the nail, went scooting through the
tree.
seating area. I went with my wife, and that started contractions. And my son was born.
Okay, I think we'll.
Yeah, can you, is my sound good?
Yes,
It is.
Okay. My story has some ancient history in it. My great-great-grandfather was running a linen mill, a weaving shop in Dundee, Scotland, with about 600 employees. And it was doing so well that he took out insurance to expand. And then there was a fire. And he had insurance on the building, but he couldn't pay back the loan that he had just taken out. So his friends told him to go to New York. And I'm talking about 1838 when the fire happened. So in 1840, he went to New York and he was selling their goods and told his wife to bring the children. And so she came on the ship with the master bed so they could sleep on the bed. Now, she arrived in New York City on July 4th. And so our family has always celebrated July 4th as a family reunion day. And every 25 years, they've gotten the whole family together. But on the other years, we've gotten together and had family reunions on the front porches of the family colony. There were 6 family cottages that were built at the foot of a lake in Wisconsin by the son of my great-great-grandfather. And one of his children would go to a wholesale grocer and buy a hand of bananas and make sure that it was going to be ripe on the 4th of July. He would hang that on a nail on a tree. It was always the same tree down by the lakefront. And the children were invited to have a banana any time of the day they wanted it. Well, the first time you do that, you eat all the bananas you can, and then you don't ever want to eat another banana again because you've had your fill. But the banana tree became our 4th of July tradition. And we would have a few small firecrackers, but then at the other end of the lake, we would watch fireworks that were put off by the clubhouse that was down there. There was a sailing club, and they would put off fireworks on their pier. So we could watch a good fireworks display at night. So that's my 4th of July family story. And we had lots and lots of cousins. So all the cousins from Milwaukee would drive out to be at the lake on the 4th. And everybody would sit on their screen porch, which was a wraparound porch, which had all kinds of chairs and a swinging bed. We called them swinging cots. They were 4 chains connected to the 4 corners of a bed frame with a mattress on top. And so everybody loved the swinging cots and the porches, and a lot of family talking and gathering together. That's my story.
How about that?
Okay.
So anyhow, so that was a good story, and I got a few other clips I could say, but we're running out of time. So let me do my my puns before we get out of here. There we go. Let's see, get this a little bit bigger. Okay. All righty, here we go. Our finale. What do you call a Russian flea? A mosquito. Yeah, mosquito. Anyhow,
That's a
yeah, you
stretch.
get the gist of it. Mosquito. Okay, where would you put an injured insect? In an ambulance. Yeah, that's a go. Okay, here we go. What happened to the dancer at a seafood disco? Dancer at a seafood disco.
Jump dance.
He pulled a muscle.
Ah, good.
There you go. All righty. Why was the pirate late for work?
Oh,
Well, his ship had sailed. All righty. What does one Valentine's Day card say to another that is physically fit? You're made from good card stock.
Oh,
ooh.
Okay. I don't know if we've done this one before, but it's sort of being familiar. What did the worm say to the other when he was home late?
Caught in traffic?
Where in earth have you been?
Oh,
Okay. Where do shellfish go to borrow money? To the prawn broker.
ooh, good. Good one.
Okay, what do you call a dog in space? Well, an astromutt.
That's true.
Why did the ice cream truck break down? And because of the rocky road.
Ah,
Okay. Here we go. Here's the last one. Why does the priest love Swiss cheese?
it's holy.
There you got it. It's holy. There you got it. There we go. Figure that one out. Okay. Well, hope you guys have a good holiday and come up with some good stories. We can talk about them next week. All righty.
Okay.
Okay.
Have a good one. Happy